to understand what is more important than to create and follow ideals.
Create and follow?
Ideals.
Ideals.
So as a later part, I can relate to what is exactly.
Actually, the first part of that sentence is the absolute. The second part is the actionable. Understanding what is not really a task. It is not even needed. What is needed is the second part. Just stop taking your ideals seriously. Just stop having fanciful pictures of existence. And understanding what is the present will then no more be needed, because a need is meaningful only when something is absent, and we are talking of present. So there is no need really then. So the useful part of that sentence is just the later part. The first part you can ignore. That's the thing about truth. You can ignore it. You can totally ignore it because you can depend on it that it will never go away. It is utterly reliable. Hence you can forget it. The first part of that sentence is the absolute. So you can totally forget and ignore it. Second part is useful.
Related to this, I want to ask a question. To perceive truth requires understanding of the false. I ask two questions based on this. Okay, how you can identify the false? And if you are able to identify the false, then if you have a doubt in its falsehood, that's the question.
No, see, you don't identify the false by matching it with your conception of the false. The false is identified by what it does to you. I'm glad you have raised this question. How do you know it is false? If it unsettles you, if it leads to disquiet, it is false. If it needs protection, if it demands security, it is false. You see, falseness has to be understood in the context of your nature. Your nature is to be carefree, and whatever demands care from you is bound to be false. Your nature is relaxation, and hence whatever will demand a lot of doing from you is bound to be false. Your nature is faith, and hence whatever will demand a lot of testing and verification is bound to be false. Your nature is trust that arises from that faith, and hence whatever puts you in a situation of doubt is bound to be false. Are you getting it? Your nature is peace, and hence whatever leads to an inner derangement, an inner disorder, is bound to be false. In short, anything that leads to mental excitation is bound to be false. That's how you know the false. And that is why the truth cannot be known. Because the apparatus that you use for knowing is the mind. And if it excites the mind, it is false. Hence, truth cannot be known because the truth will. If it creates ripples here, please know that it is false. And when I say it is false, okay, glad that. When I say it is false, that does not mean that the object outside of you is false. When I say it is false, I mean that this and the relationship. So do not start labeling objects outside of you as false, 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 false. You pick up a J. Krishnamurti book and it troubles you, you say false. It's not about that book, it's about the book, the reader of the book, and the way of reading. In fact, the way of reading can be dispensed with. Just say the book and the reader of the book. And even among these two, what is more relevant? The reader of the book. That is where the falseness lies. So will we be specific about the application of this word now? False? Yes?
So psychology and psychiatry means they try to treat mind by giving medicines, psychiatry, or by suggesting some methods or therapy. So to what extent are they useful then? Because
They
are
treat
not
the
being
brain.
basic. Means they are not.
The brain can be treated. The brain is just like any other organ of the body. The brain can be treated. So if you have a tumor here or some other malfunction, and if there is a drug available, kindly do not say that the only treatment of the mind is surrender. So I will not take that drug. Those who are prescribing you drugs are not treating the mind really. They are treating the brain. And the brain is a mass of flesh. So allow them to treat the brain.
Where is the mind located?
Nowhere. You are located in the mind.
Because we always say.
As a person that perceives only through senses, this is the organ that is related to the senses. The mind and the brain really have no particular connection. It is just that because you are identified with the senses, hence even to talk of the mind, you use the brain. Otherwise, brain and mind have no great in-depth relationship. If they have a relationship, that is only in context of the person. Remove the person and you have removed the brain. Are you getting it?
Krishnamurti talked about the mutation
What?
in the brain cells.
But does he say that the mutation happens only in the brain cells? I have not looked at the brain cells of people around me, but I have looked at their facial cells. That fellow Udit does not look the same way he used to look 2 years back. Neither does this girl here or that boy there. Does Krishnamurti say that mutations happen only within the skull? I don't know of that. Maybe a doctor is more qualified to speak. But I have seen mutations happening in the faces. And flesh is flesh. If the brain cells change, that is no more significant than the change in the cells of the face. And the face cannot really change without the brain changing. So that is the same thing. So don't be particularly interested in the mutation of the brain. The whole body of the wise one bears wisdom. It is for no abstract reason that saints are depicted as having an aura. It is just that we show that aura only around the head. I tell you that aura is there also on the fingers, on the eyes. Your eyes are no more the same once you have been touched. The eye cells have undergone mutation. And of course, there would be an accompanying mutation and an underlying mutation in the brain cells also. Of course, that has to be there. But why think only of the brain? It is evident and obvious even in the face, in the eyes. Are you getting it? When you are relaxed, you do not sit in the same way as when you are agitated. Don't you see that there is a mutation? Your entire body chemistry changes when you are relaxed. Don't you see there is a mutation?